Welcome to the People, Passion, and Purpose podcast, where you will hear from creative small business owners in the trenches every single day, talking story, talking lessons, talking failures, talking truth. I'm your host, Nina L. Kovner. Thank you so much for joining us. Hello, awesome humans. Welcome back to the podcast. It's Nina Kovner with Passion Squared. And I know we have not been doing our weekly podcast, but we are getting ready to come back weekly in August. And we do have a couple episodes still coming to you in July. So thank you for your support, for listening, for all your DMs and emails and the feedback. It's just so incredibly important and so helpful to help us craft the questions and the guests that can add the most value to your life. So it's been a minute since I've done a What's on Your Mind. And if you follow Passion Squared or myself on social, you know that things have been a little nuts. And I think that it's so important to talk about the not so pretty side of being a creative small business owner, because we so often talk about the pretty side. We so often see the cute, posed, filtered pictures and filled rooms with people and booked clienteles and everyone driving around in their fancy cars and a brand new pair of shoes or whatever. But guys, that's not what business looks like. You know, yes, some people really are seeking material success and they achieve it, which is fucking awesome. And some people just want to pretend like everything's awesome when in reality it's not. And no one's wrong. It's just the way we choose to present ourselves in life. It's not just the internet. Of course, it's offline as well. So, but the truth is, as many of you know, that is not the real world. And I know that I actually got a question this morning using the new Instagram questions and answers feature about comparison. And that's just a great example of comparing your business to someone else's business when you have no idea what's happening behind the scenes. Whether it's comparing your social media feeds, comparing your fancy trappings, your location, your decor, what you believe the revenue of the salon is, what you believe their profitability is. The truth is, guys, we have no idea unless we're behind the scenes looking at somebody's profit and loss statement. Someone could look awesome on the outside and just be a mess on the inside. That's why comparison is dangerous. I understand the human element of it, but the business element is actually really bad for business. So anyways, so I'm going to keep talking truth. You say that's what you love from myself and Passion Squared. So here we go. The truth is, I have been really struggling to get my shit together since the big move to Oregon. Now, again, if you follow myself or Passion Squared, you know that it's dreamy and I love it. And it's been a dream of mine since 2011. And so this isn't a pity party. This isn't complaining. This is just a real behind the scenes look at what happens when we make significant shifts. So I had the very euphoric, excited, planning, getting ready, all of that phase. And I was so clear and so stoked. I knew this would be good for me personally. I knew it would be great for Passion Squared. And so I made the move and I was so excited and so happy. And then I went on the road. I went on the road and I still don't have a desk. I still haven't unpacked. I still have not a single picture on the wall. I still don't know where shit is. And again, not complaining, not looking for a pity party. The lesson in it is really what matters. I don't function well in chaos. I don't function well when my space is not grounded and solid. And that's what I've learned about myself. So in order for me to be productive and creative, as productive and creative as I can be. Of course, I'm being productive and creative, but not to the degree I want to be. I need my space to have it shit together. And it's just not the case. And it won't be together for another few weeks because I go back on the road. So knowing that we have to dig deeper. That's where the perseverance comes in. That's where the putting our big human panties on. That's where we just have to suck it up and do the shit we need to do, even though we don't feel like it, even though we feel out of our rhythm, even though we feel overwhelmed, even though. Because at the end of the day, you chose to be a leader. You chose to be an owner. I chose to be a leader. I chose to be an owner. And that means we have to do that stuff, even if we don't want to. Is it ideal? No. Is it temporary? Yes. We always have to remember everything that we're going through is temporary. It's temporary. It's temporary. The feelings are temporary, right? The feelings are temporary. And we have to take care of ourselves. So in order to take care of ourselves, we need to take action and do whatever it is we need to do to feel better. I know for me, organizing the home, the office will make me feel better. And that will happen. And I have a date set to that. And I continue to remind myself every fucking second that it's going to happen. It's going to happen. I have a plan. But right now, I'm just going to have to suck it up and put my big human panties on and just do it. So a good example of this is because I am not working from my typical desk, it's been a little more difficult for me to just perform basic functions with my computer, or in this case, preparing for this podcast, the microphone and the sound. So I've recorded one podcast since I've been here in Eugene, and it went fine. But today, for some reason, every single setting on my computer, every single setting on my recording device, every single thing on my microphone was fucked up. So it took me almost 30 minutes just to get the sound working to the point that I believed I could record this podcast. Now, why didn't I give up? Well, I wanted to. I wanted another shot of espresso. I wanted to go take a nap. I wanted to do the 5 other things on my to-do list that are important today. But then I had to step back and say, okay, where's the value? Where's the contribution? Why does this matter? Why am I doing this? Because when I focus on the why, it propels me to do things I don't necessarily feel like doing, right? When we focus on that outcome. The outcome of this podcast is you are going to feel more empowered. You are maybe going to feel inspired to do something you don't feel like doing or you didn't feel like doing. You may be inspired to organize your workspace so you can have more grounding and calming and intention in your creative work. It could be several different things. The importance of that is what kept me going for 30 minutes when a very simple sound issue did not seem solvable. And so that's just one example of the shit that we go through. This happens all day, every day, and it's going to continue to happen all day, every day. The expectation, and you guys have heard this a million times, the expectation that things are supposed to go smooth is where we do get screwed up because we're like, oh, everything should be rainbows and unicorns and everything should just be smooth. It's not smooth. Life's not smooth. Business is not smooth. It's messy. It's messy and it's joyous and it's amazing and it's heartbreaking and it's stressful and it's happy. And it's all of those things. It's all of those feels wrapped into one. And so when we do come across an obstacle, look, guys, last night I really hit a wall. And again, if you've been following me, you've seen me hit a few walls in the last few weeks. But last night I really hit a wall and I started questioning everything. And I started spinning into this what if mode. Well, what if this happened? Or what if this happens? Or what? And it's not my normal default belief, but because everything else feels so out of control, I'm looking for something to control. I'm looking for something to control and or sabotage and or whatever. Awareness to all this, though, is the key, loves. Awareness. Because the stuff's going to happen, right? All the stuff's going to happen. All these feelings are going to be had. But when we're aware that they're happening, we can actually do something about them. We can make more intentional decisions, more mindful decisions about what that next step is going to be. One step at a time, right? One step at a time. Using the podcast sound as an example. I knew it was simple. I knew there was steps that I needed to take to continue to figure out why something wasn't connecting. So I just took those steps, and then I took a breath, tested it, didn't work. I took those steps again, tested it, it didn't work. I took those steps again, and all the while breathing and focusing on, why am I even doing this to begin with? Oh, I remember, because the Passion Squared community deserves this. The Passion Squared community values what we do. And that's why I'm going to figure out this fucking sound, right? So that then turns to you all. And this morning I was answering some of the Q&As using the new Instagram questions, Insta Stories questions feature, which I love, by the way. And if you love it too, let me know, slide in my DMs or whatever. I love it because, of course, I love serving the community. And one of the questions that came up, which we get over and over and over and over and over again, is about, I don't know what to post and I don't have time. I don't know what to post and I don't have time. I don't know what to post and I don't have time. And so it's kind of back to this general lesson of we make time for the stuff that matters. We make time for the stuff that matters. I'm just going to keep reminding you guys of that because you know this stuff, right? You know that. We make time for the stuff that matters. I chose to make time to record this podcast, even though I felt like the universe was fucking with me, right? And I was like, does the universe not want me to do this today? But that wasn't it. That would have been really, really deflecting the responsibility onto the universe, when in reality, my computer's been off for weeks and it needed the settings readjusted or whatever. It was not a big deal. It just took me 30 minutes. So we make time for the stuff that matters to us. And if serving your community and building relationships online in order to potentially create referrals and revenue, and then if you deliver an awesome experience consistently, retention, then you're going to find the time, guys. You're going to find it. Now, you're going to have to make some adjustments. It could be that you add an hour to your day. It could be you do one less client. It could be that you do one less task. It could be that you add time to your experiences that you have with your clients. It could be using simple hacks like airdropping images to clients before they walk out the door so you don't have to follow up, even though, of course, post-experience follow-up is important. But, maybe it's any of those things. Again, we all figure it out. So the time thing, guys, is always going to be a tough love thing. You're always going to get the truth from me. Tough love. Make the time. We all Netflix and chill. We all have watched 50 episodes of whatever, Law and Order. We've all done it. So we had time for that. We have time to build relationships, to engage, to have two-way conversations, to make human connections. You have it, guys. You have it. You just need to make a decision. And then the last thing is on the content thing. And again, this is just kind of what's on my mind. And it's at the top of my mind because I just got back a few weeks ago from Los Angeles for the ABCH Energizing Summit, which was awesome. Shout out to everyone at ABCH and everyone that came. And thank you for having me. It's always such an honor. But my class was Your Content is Your Marketing. And this is actually a topic I've been talking about since Passion Squared began in 2012. So it's been many years that I've been talking about your content is your marketing. So when you're struggling with what content to create, it tells me that you're struggling with your brand. It tells me you don't understand your brand purpose, promise, and people, or your dream client, your audience, whatever. And so it's kind of like cart before the horse. It doesn't mean you can't post pretty hair pictures. Of course you can. But that's not going to deeply engage anyone for the long term. You may get, if you're in the hair business, you may get hairdresser followers, but that's not going to help, right? If you're trying to build a local brand, blah, 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 blah. So your content is your marketing. Your content is your marketing. And our job as marketers is to solve problems. That's what we do. We solve problems. But if we don't know the problems, then we can't develop solutions to those problems. And that goes back to understanding your audience. I have 2 books I recommend to my clients. If you're a client listening, number 1, thank you. We love you. You know that. We're so grateful for you. But there's 2 books I recommend. And while it's certainly not reading those books and then you're going to be a genius at brand development, what I can tell you is that you will have a deeper understanding of brand purpose and purpose in general, and you will have a better understanding of audience. So the first book is Start With Why by Simon Sinek. And I know it's a big hot book right now, even though it's 10 years old, by the way, guys. And everyone's like, my why. If that's what you're talking about, it's not your why. It's not about you. It's about your audience. So your brand why is different, is completely different. So I want you to, if you're into it, pick up Start With Why and let it sink in and do some work around that. Don't just read it and go, oh, Simon Sinek's awesome. He is awesome. He and I do share a birthday. That's a fun fact. I was asked on Instagram Q&A yesterday, what random fun facts do I know? And I said none. Simon Sinek, John Lennon, and Nina Kovner were all born on the same day, October 9th. We're Libras. We're all about love. Anyways, so that's book number 1, Start With Why by Simon Sinek. Book number 2 is Tribes by Seth Godin. Again, over 10 years old, classic, and pre-internet, which I love because I do classic stuff, guys. I do traditional stuff. I'm not into marketing fads. I'm actually not into any fad. It's just never been my style. It's okay if you're into fads. I just don't educate and empower based on a fad. I believe in classic, tried and true principles of brand development, business development, marketing. And of course, that includes social and digital. I still apply tried and true fundamental approaches. And yes, I'm very current on everything that's going on. I just think a lot of it's fluff and bullshit, to be quite honest. So Start With Why and Tribes. And then, of course, we have programs. Awesome School for salon owners. And we have our social school, which is for all creative entrepreneurs and any creative industry. We would love to see you in our social school. And in there, we talk about brand development and social and digital marketing. So, but back to content. So that's why. That's why you struggle. You got to figure out what is important to your audience. What do they believe in? What do they value? What are their problems? And then you story tell through content to solve those problems, to engage them, to speak to them. And a good example I use, many of you have probably heard this. I hear often that, gosh, Nina, when you guys post on Passion Squared, it just feels like you're talking to me, like get out of my head. And if you've ever felt that way, that's why. That's why. It's the way that we market. It's the way that we story tell, the way that we create content. We are speaking directly to you. Directly to you. The most impactful marketing is when you're speaking to an audience of one that has shared vision, shared belief, shared values, shared problems, right? So that's how you do it. Is it easy? Fuck no. No, not at all. Does it take time? Yes. Discipline? Absolutely. Absolutely. Is it scary because it's something you maybe don't understand? Yeah, of course. I didn't know how to be a farmer, and I became a farmer last week and cried basically my eyeballs through the whole thing, including on the plane ride home. So yeah, growth is uncomfortable. Doing shit we don't know or don't have experience with or whatever, learning, especially when we get older, we seem to get a lot more uncomfortable about learning and growing. But guys, if you want to grow, if you don't want to grow, that's cool. Totally down with that. But if you do, it's going to be super fucking uncomfortable. So you get to make that decision, right? You get to make that decision if you want to take those risks, if it matters to you. It may not, and that's so okay. It's so okay to be where you are, right? It's so okay to define your success for yourself. This is only about if you're not happy where you are, if you're not happy with your content, if you're not happy with your storytelling, if you're not happy with the amount of time you're putting towards building relationships online, you're not happy with your revenue, you're not happy with your profitability, whatever it is, right? So that is what's on my mind today. And I just want to thank you. Just really, really, really thank you. Today, whenever you're listening to this, today more than ever, but because it is because of you, and this is not some fluffy marketing fucking thing. It's because of you that Passion Squared is still in business. Because just like you, I have wanted to give up more than I think I'll ever admit to. And I mean often. And what brings us back every single time is the promise that we made to you, to our tribe, to our community, to our clients, to our subscribers since day fucking one. And that is why we get up every morning. That's why we do what we do. And thank you, because you are the inspiration, you're the fuel, you're the fire that gets us through these moments that are like, fuck this shit. Like, I want to go like away somewhere. I just want to run. I want to go away. So you're not alone. You know that. We're always here for you. We've got your back. We appreciate you having ours. We love you. Thanks so much for listening. And we'll see you next week with a new episode. Love you guys. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. To learn more about Passion Squared, you can visit us at passionsquared.net. You can find us on the gram and on Facebook at Passion Squared, and be sure to subscribe and share with your friends. We're so grateful. Thank you so much for joining us. Have an awesome day, guys. Love you.